right. Well, Jay, thank you for joining me today. For taking the time out. I know we have a big time difference, so I'm glad we were able to do this. It's for everyone watching. It's 9 a.m. over here in the U.S. in San Diego, and I think it's 6 over there in Italy.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Yeah. So
It's a
today,
good time anyway. So,
say again.
it is a good time anyway. So,
Perfect.
uh, thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. I want to maybe give just a little background to people that may be listening about how we kind of met and how I found your website, which is really what led me to you. Basically, Jay runs. He built this guitar website. It's called GuitarScientist.com, and I found it through teaching, really, and I would have, I have my students do the classic, fretboard, and you fill it out by hand, so you have a blank fretboard essentially. Um, I was doing that for a while, and it worked well, but it was kind of limiting in the sense that I had to either do them all the time, or I had to like photocopy them, or I had to make the students do it, but they would lose them, or you could only do them in one dimension really. So, or it was only flat on the paper. Whereas what Jay has done, which I think, especially to my students that may be watching, they should definitely go use this website. I'm sure a lot of them have already used it because of our lessons. But I really like your site, man. I think it's really good for teaching, for learning, for just organizing stuff. And what it is it's basically, the reason I liked it so much is because it's kind of how I was doing it, but just digital and on the internet. And I really liked that. So it's all color coded. There's different layers. You can make different symbols. You can move fretboards around. You can copy things. You can save them. You can rearrange them. You can edit them. You could do whatever you want. So that's kind of how I found it. It was just kind of by happenstance on Google searching for probably like a guitar fretboard or some, I don't even remember, to be honest, but somehow I found Guitar Scientist, and when I clicked on it, it was actually the old version, right? Didn't you have like an older? You probably had several versions, but at least since we've been talking.
There's two major ones.
Okay, and maybe you could talk about that. Actually, I didn't even think of to ask you about that until right now. Is it just different versions of it over time, or what's the deal with the two? Like,
Well, so as you may have noticed on the maybe in the past when you used the old editor, it was kind of like a guest on another website. It was guitarscientist.com/generator. That was the URL.
yeah,
And on that website, this website hosts what is my main job, and that is selling performance, the guitar support. And I had this side project. So I already had a website, and I kind of hosted this, side pet project on there. Because I thought it would be nice for the same public,
mm,
guitarists.
yeah,
And, and it brought some traffic to the website. So that was the main reasoning. I host them on the same website because I want to reach the same kind of people. So who sees one sees the other project.
right, okay,
And but it grew up too much to be on that hosting, because that is a shared hosting, SiteGround, I think. Yes. And SiteGround couldn't really host that website anymore. It grew too big, and so I had to move it on a dedicated hosting. And so I decided to give it its own URL, and it is editor.guitarscientist.com. And also because in the meantime, I took about 1 year and a half to develop this giga mega new version, because compared to the first one, this one had a social network. Actually, you can have your profile and your list of things. But maybe I'm skipping too many steps because the let's recap from the beginning. This thing started because I was taking coffee every day with a friend of mine, my best friend, and we were just talking about everything. We used to live very close, and we shared pretty much everything that was going on with our lives then.
Are they also a musician, or is it just another friend of yours?
He's a great pianist, and we used to play together in the past.
Okay, cool.
And he was actually making his website, and he's selling piano courses. And he was making a lot of diagrams using a graphic editor program, a generic one. I don't know, something from Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me, I am making these diagrams over and over because I need slightly different ones, and I need to save the file every time and modify and center
Yeah.
this and that. And I want the blue fret, the blue key, and this key has to be the same blue of the diagram I made last year,
Right.
and this and that. And I thought I know a little bit about. Uh, I can't even say coding about making website in HTML,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew very very little, just a little bit of JavaScript, and I knew how to make something become blue if you click on it.
Okay.
So I said I think I can make a website where you have a piano, and if you click on it, the key becomes blue,
Okay.
and then you print the page. Then you print your page, and you have your diagram. So you
Nice.
can make diagrams. I went home and I, I spent my afternoon doing that. And probably the day after, I sent him this thing. Uh, I don't know, it was a wordplay in Italian, pianificatore da piano. So
Okay.
piano, something you make plans with, but piano, it means plan in Italian. So,
Okay.
you make plans. And
Right.
that was the name. Okay. And that was it. Then I kept playing with it, and I thought if I make six little pianos, maybe I can make it look like a guitar.
Right. Okay.
Make six strings, and maybe I can do dots. And so the first version was just a very ugly guitar where you could click, and a red dot would appear,
Yeah.
and that was it. And I kept playing with it for weeks and weeks, and I made it more and more complex until I was beginning to think, am I wasting all this time for a reason or what?
I love it. Yeah. I know that feeling.
And so I thought, well, at least let other people use it. So I made a website called fretboarddiagrams.com,
Ah.
and that was the first ever version of the editor. It was only one fretboard. You could only click on this fretboard and
Mm-hmm.
download a little PNG file of this fretboard and
Yeah.
nothing else. But I don't know. It looked like people kind of liked it, but I couldn't even. I didn't even have Google Analytics on it. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I just uploaded, and I was sharing it on Facebook. This was 5 years ago, I believe, maybe 6, maybe 7. I'm old.
That's cool, man. So it's cool. It's cool to hear it's really cool to hear how you started it. I mean, it's cool. I'm really interested in it.
It was basically a bar bet.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I think that's how it's some of the great things are started though, man. I mean, again, I use it all the time. And it's, the way that, so let me ask you, how, I'm not familiar with like coding and JavaScript, and I've heard that, but I don't know what that means. And basically you're saying you can make something and you press it and it turns blue in the most simple terms, right?
Yeah. So you need several languages, code languages. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Several different languages to code a website like Guitar Scientist, because you need to show something, make it do something,
Mm-hmm.
and then make the server do something for you. Save the
Hmm.
file, serve you the file.
Right.
Okay, so there are three different languages.
Ah.
You have several options for all these um, parts, but basically you have HTML
Mm.
for what you see. Uh, we can say CSS for how this is styled,
Okay.
and the JavaScript makes it do things in your
Mm.
browser.
Ah.
So
Okay.
what happens in your browser, the program that you download is JavaScript. But
Okay.
the way you communicate with the server, you have several options here. You can use JavaScript on the server side, but I don't do that. I use PHP. This is maybe the most common choice.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
And
you're speaking a whole nother language for me, Jay.
okay, basically there are two programs.
No, I get
The
you.
one that
I get the
has
idea.
a server and the one that has in your
Okay.
browser. So both version of the editor was only in your browser. The server didn't
Ah.
do anything. It just served you the program. So you couldn't do anything. You could just use it and then take a screenshot of it, because once you exited the website,
It
it
would.
was all gone.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I see what you mean.
And obviously, I wanted people to be able to save it, to
Okay.
save their work. And so maybe the second version, it was still the second major update. The second major version was making users able to save their work. So you could store on a database
Right.
your diagram, but you could actually just do that. You didn't have a profile. You didn't
Ah.
need to
Yeah.
log in.
Right.
So without a login, I couldn't know for certain if you were the owner of that diagram.
Ah.
So you could save it, but you couldn't modify it. Otherwise, I would have people vandalize other people's
Of course.
diagrams all the time.
Right.
So the classic solution was to give you a random URL, so you could share
Right.
it, or otherwise it would remain secret if you didn't share it. And that was your diagram. If you wanted to modify, you had to make another one.
Yep. I remember. That's the one I found.
Yes,
Yeah.
that
Okay.
was the. And then actually, after a lot of hours,
Mm-hmm.
I put a PayPal donation button on the generator that you found, and I don't know, probably I collected €100 of donation in a couple of years.
Oh wow. Really?
But
That's it? Dang. That's. I wish more people would like make a profile and just donate it.
no, but for me it was enough to think, if some people is willing to donate money,
Right.
maybe someone will be willing to pay for a service if I make it much better. And
Ah.
so I spent probably a year and a half, because I made a little box in the old website with a suggestion box where you could suggest me or ask me anything you would like to find in the new version.
Yeah.
And
That's how I
I
first met you.
collected,
Yeah. Okay.
and I found I received hundreds of requests.
Ah.
So I tried to implement everything people ask, everything almost, or
What were
everything
some
reasonable.
right? Yeah, I mean, the way that you're explaining how complex it is just to do a simple like image and click and then save and then have a profile, like that's so complex already. But like, and then on top of it, to have like, well, can you make it do this, this, and this, and like, because I remember asking you questions and we were going back and forth. But what were some of like the common things that people were asking? I know you kind of had 100, so that's kind of a lot, but
Well, there were were common themes, obviously.
okay, okay,
So people wanted to be able to download PDFs
Of course.
That was probably the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So and that is actually quite complex. At least it was for me, because I actually knew nothing about coding when I started. So I had to learn
Wow.
everything. Everything I did, I had to learn it.
Wow,
So
that's
some
really
things were,
impressive, man. That's really impressive.
yeah, but I find it fun. So
Mm.
it was amusing. I don't know. I like spending time in this way. So
Yeah.
I watched a lot of tutorials. I bought some courses, especially when I had to make the server side program, because that is way slower to test. So you can't just type something and see how it behaves, because a browser will always show you something. If you make a mistake, even a single semicolon wrong on the server side code, it just doesn't work.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're straight up
So
like writing computer language of how to do, because to me, I mean, I don't know anything about it, but I'm kind of fascinated by how we make digital websites and digital things. And it sounds like you're literally just creating it from scratch and then building it.
well, obviously I had
Yeah.
to write every single line of code,
That's
and I
crazy.
think we are in the tens of thousands of lines of codes that I wrote.
Wow.
Obviously, yeah, it's a huge program.
That's really cool, man.
It took me quite some time, but it is a common thing. I'm not special at all. I mean, people do crazy things online, because the thing about code that I like it so much,
Uh-huh.
and that it is so different from learning an instrument,
Okay.
for instance, is that when you learn a song, you have to learn the song, then practice the song to
Right.
make it better and better and better and better. Because you only know the song if you can play it at a certain speed
Mm-hmm.
and without making mistake. Otherwise, you can't say you know it.
Right.
With the code, you just have to make it work. You can make it in 1 minute if you are skilled, or in a week. But once you do it, it's done. You will
Ah,
never forget it. You will never forget it. You don't have to practice it. It works.
yeah.
It's there.
I get you. It's almost
So
like a math equation. Like once you figure it out and it equals and it works, it's there. Yeah, I get you. Okay.
uh, once you make it, it's done.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
not like it's more like, I don't know, cheating when you record something. Okay.
Okay, I see. Interesting.
Once you make it, it's done. And so maybe it took me 2 weeks to do something another programmer could have done in maybe 2 hours.
Ah.
This has happened for sure. That I must have needed a lot of time more than other skilled programmers, because I wasn't a programmer.
But that's how you learn and you're getting faster now.
And I for sure I took longer roads than needed, but eventually I made it work.
Mm-hmm.
At least I made the best I could. And how did we get here? What
You were
was the question?
saying like what you find so interesting about coding and what like kind of draws you to it that's different than music.
Yeah, it's this thing. You never lose what you learn.
I get what you're saying. It's very like yeah, it's very definitive. Like once you
Yes,
have it, okay, interesting. Hmm.
and and you can make infinite copies of it. It's like
Right.
making something with Lego and duplicate it, clone
Ah,
it.
I see. Now,
So the feedback loop is very quick. You make something, you can upload it, and have people using it right away. And it's
mm,
not like making a video and uploading it on YouTube with a song that you maybe composed, or
mm-hmm.
a solo, or anything, because the video doesn't do anything. It's just there for people to watch. But if you make something that people can use to make some other things,
Right.
they have more incentive to use it. So they use it more. I've had far more success with my website than with my music, because people have actually an incentive to use it for their own good, and not for
I see what you
listening to
mean.
the
Yeah,
music.
that's very interesting actually. I like that because basically they can not it's not just for them to consume, but it's like they can use it. It has utility to it. So they can use it for whatever Yeah, I really like that. I mean, honestly, man, that's what I've been using it for. I literally use it almost every day because I have, I teach a lot at these different schools or privately. And just over the years, really, I just have been giving, I end up saying, when you teach, you kind of end up saying the same thing over and over to some extent. If, there's certain, it's kind of like what you're saying. There's certain things that just are what they are. You got to learn this and this and this if you want to play like this and this, so I end up, I would write the same scales over and over and over, well, you got to do C major. And it's like all stuff I know already, of course, because I already play guitar. But so when I found your site, it made it really easy for me because even the first or second version, I guess technically, it was very convenient. Even though each URL was unique and different, I just would save it, and that's how I started making these bookmarks. So I don't know if you've checked out the book that I'm kind of making. Have you seen it on my website at all?
Not really,
Okay.
sorry.
I wanted to show you. I'm kind of glad that you haven't seen it. It's in the work still, and it's just I haven't finished it. It's kind of like whenever I have time. But I've been making this little book basically. It's a digital book, and I'm using your site to do it.
Did you already send it to me?
No, I'm gonna show you right now. I'll show you
Okay, okay.
I'll show you what I mean. But watch, let's try this real quick to you. But so for people that have never seen this, it's really a cool website. I mean, you can transpose anything. So say my root is here. I always say root is red. So, I could transpose anything by moving it. And right now, I think, let's see here. So, and you can move these little guys and edit anything. And there's different colors and shapes. And one of my favorite things that you have is this option where hopefully I have it edited correctly, but so I don't actually look at. So I have a mistake here. But see, I need to go through and edit everything. But anyways, what's cool is like when I'm talking to my students, I love the number feature. So this feature right here to me is so great. It's really cool how you're able to just do numbers and or letters, obviously, or just these colors. So I really like that feature. Anyway, so I have it all organized somewhat. I mean, on both spots where it's just, different modes. So actually I have a question. One thing that I realized I couldn't do is I couldn't do folders inside of folders.
Yeah, actually, I didn't anticipate people making so many diagrams. So at first, you didn't even have folders. And it was one of the first requests I got when I published the new website was, can we make folders? So
Yeah.
in like 3 days, I had to code this system of collections. This is how I call them. And the only update I did to these collections was to make people able to make them private. But I
Okay.
didn't make collections of collections.
I see. Okay.
But I know I would have to. Just looking at your profile, I see the need for a collection of collections.
Yeah, man. I love, I mean, the way that you can make, like, I think that's actually, now that we were looking at, I think that's why I saved it how I did with bookmarks. So that way I
Yeah.
could put, folder inside of another folder inside of another folder, basically. But like like I said, I use this all the time, man. So like whenever I have these different lectures and I'm slowly adding to them, obviously, but whenever, chord inversions, like that's the other thing is you can do anything with like, I love that you have, these chord inversions or, chords you can do scales. And even on some of them, I love the YouTube feature where like, let's see if I can find like the YouTube feature. Some of these have YouTube videos that go with it, obviously, but that's not one. I'm trying to find. I can't remember which one has a YouTube video, but
So
that's a great feature.
I think you're clicking OK, so it always opens the same diagram.
Oh, whoops. Okay, see, I'm an amateur. So what do I press?
No, that is not really clear. I know. I've had people telling me that that feature is not so clear. But
oh yeah. Okay, so there we go.
there is not really another way to do it because
It's that's fine.
the
That's
browser doesn't let you modify the text on those buttons.
I see.
You
Okay.
can't copy that. It's always okay and cancel.
Hmm.
So it's not very clear. You have to
Okay.
explain it first, but people don't read.
I see.
So
Yeah, see, that's what I was doing. I was just like, okay.
yeah,
But so I really like the feature of that you can go like insert a YouTube link very easily. So it's like, I mean, dude, your site is really cool, man. You can zoom
thank you.
out, like you have this mode where it moves this out of the way. You can say, and the other feature that I like really a lot is you can edit the same diagram without having to save it as a whole new thing, which is kind of what you were saying earlier about having the different links, right? That was the old version, I mean.
Yeah, the main reason for the profiles is to let people edit the diagrams because
Right.
I was having tens of thousands of diagrams, which were basically, for the most part, duplicates.
Right.
So I had to let people modify the diagrams, and this is what moved the create created in me the will to make another version. And I soon discovered that this is way harder than I thought because you have to how do you say, identify with a username and a password the users, and this is
Oh.
a big problem in itself
Yeah, I see what you
because you have
mean.
to
Okay.
store passwords and you cannot store passwords in plain text and you have to learn a lot of things. So just making this took me a lot of time, but I actually followed a tutorial that explained you how to make a clone of Twitter. And following that tutorial, which obviously included making profiles, I stopped at a certain point, and so you can't tweet, but you can tweet diagrams
Yeah.
in my website. So you took a piece from here, a piece from there, and you make your own puzzle, and it becomes your website. Obviously, I didn't invent anything of what you can find on other websites. The only things that I can say I invented, I, I mean the algorithms that make the scales or the inversions. Those I coded them, and obviously I couldn't find help anywhere because people don't really go online and publish a tutorial on how to make chords on
Right.
Guitar Scientist with the code. But for any other things that you can find on the website, obviously I googled everything
Right.
because I wanted obviously to get all the help I could. And the internet is a magical place for this. You can basically learn from scratch
Anything, yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool, man. And I mean, that's why, I've been using your website because of what you just said. It's like when people, they want to learn guitar or whatever, they go online. It's like I'm trying to make it to where if they find my channel, they can, learn the way that I try and teach it. So with the help of your site, it's made it a lot easier and just, I mean, again, I use it all the time. So it's like, it's really a great tool for me.
Have you ever tried the other app on the website?
Say again.
Have you ever tried the trainer, the other app on the website?
I have not actually. That's something that I haven't really looked into. I guess maybe I just haven't had time. Um, what exactly is it?
That is a second piece of software basically that listens to your guitar and tells you if you played it right or wrong. And it teaches you notes on the fretboard, arpeggios,
Oh
and
wow.
it listens to your guitar all the time. You are never clicked on trainer on top of the website.
Okay, I gotta have to do that. That sounds interesting, huh? Okay, hang on. I'm trying to figure. I lost the image real quick. Where is it? So it's called the trainer, then, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it is on the same website. The button says trainer. If you click
Okay.
on it,
Here,
you will go on
let me
the
share.
other app.
Yeah, maybe you can show me, hand. Let me share this, and then you show me where it is. Okay, so here. Oh wait, let me share my screen. Wait, can you see this? Oh wait, did I share the wrong?
Mm,
I think I shared the wrong screen. There we go. Can you see that?
yes,
Okay, so where do I click?
you have to go back to the home page,
Oh, okay. So let's go to homepage. Oh wait, no, I
and
have seen this. The trainer. I never really looked at it though. Oh, whoa. Allow access to your microphone. Then make sure your computer has a microphone and your audio is not recorded stand anywhere. Everything happens around. Oh, whoa. Whoa. Oh, dude, I haven't seen this.
it's okay.
Oh, okay. I'll allow it later. I don't want to mess up the meeting, but
You can also use it with your mouse. You can click on the fretboard. So if you want to try it, you know that if you connect your guitar, it will listen to you. So it will, if you click on the 12th fret now on the highlighted string,
uh-huh.
is the correct answer. Play B on the B string. Okay, correct.
Oh.
If,
Oh,
if
dude, I'm
you
going to
connect
use okay. I see.
if, okay, if you connect your guitar, you can play it. It will listen to you.
I think I see what you mean now. That's really cool. Wow. Oh wow. Okay. Huh.
And so you have different training modes. In this training mode, you can choose which strings you want to practice. Now all the strings are selected. You see, you have different boxes
Right.
down there,
Uh-huh.
and you have the option to practice with accidentals or not. You only want natural notes. You can select that, or only sharp or only flat. Now it asks everything on every string. And then you have
Wow.
different training modes because now it asks you to play a note on a string. But if you click on training mode, you have different training modes, and it will ask you to play a note in an area of fret, or to play sequences of notes like
Mhm.
arpeggios, or even on some common chord progressions.
Wow.
Right, click on it.
Okay,
Click
so
on training mode.
right here.
Yes,
So I do what do I do? I play
you
and
can select another one. Yes. Click on the second one. Okay, so see, now you will have to play in that area.
okay.
And
Ah.
okay, so you now have to play a B in that area of fret.
I see. Okay. Oh. Fixed area.
Obviously, it's much more fun with the guitar, but you know.
Right. Oh, whoa. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'll have to look at that some more. I might be able to use that with my students too. That's really cool.
And the coolest thing, I believe, it's not so obvious because it's kind of hidden. But if you click on measure your progress
Okay.
next to reading, that button,
Yeah.
okay. So you can start test, and it will give you, I believe, 40 seconds to do the exercise you selected, and
Okay.
keep track of how many correct notes you did. So you can try it every day and see if you improve.
Ah.
And it will store your exercise the way you programmed it. So you can just click on it and repeat the exercise and see if you do better.
Ah, I see. Okay. Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about this program.
You're cracking me up, dude. Ah, you're funny. Uh, well, I give a shit,
I
Jay.
use it. I use it.
Oh man, that's funny. Um, oh man, that's hilarious. Well, I mean, that's really cool, man. I'm gonna check. I'll have to check that out some more. That's a really I never like it. I mean, your site is really in depth, man. It's really cool. It has so much to it. So let me see if I can fix this. I'm for some reason, I don't see you. Sorry for anyone watching. I'm having a little bit of a struggle here, trying to
But
get.
we will cut it apart, so don't worry.
Let's see if this helps. Okay. All right, man. So I think that's really bitchin'. What are you trying to shoot for now? Because I would say for anyone watching that use or anyone that uses the site that ends up seeing this, you should get a profile, and I think it's like $20 a year or something. It's like not even crazy. Is that what? Am I right?
It's a little bit more, but not much more. It's 29 euros per year.
Oh, okay. Okay. My bad. So and then what does it do when you get a profile? It makes it easier to use things and you get more out of it, right?
Actually, the trainer, the second program that you saw, that you had never seen before.
I like this guy.
uh, that is only for subscribers.
Okay. Okay.
So you have access to that app, and so also you can save how many diagrams you want. Otherwise, you are restricted to one per day.
Right. That's right.
And this is diagrams you can save in your profile, because right now you can download. This means you have a PDF on your computer, but you don't have the editable file on your profile.
I see.
So you can download as many diagrams as you want. You can use it and make your library in PDF in a folder on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
Basically for free forever. I have to think about that, but for now, this is the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I think it's great that people can use it, but I also like if you could if there's a way for them to be able to just contribute and make it, better for you to be able to edit all the time and make it better and better and create new features and, make it
Actually, to be honest, I made a lot of features that are so advanced that maybe one person out of 10,000 uses
I
it.
see. Okay.
There is a function that calculates the inversions of your chords that you probably never used. There is a function that generates all the inversion of your scale on 7 different fretboards with just one click.
Yeah,
so
I saw that one.
Yeah, but it took me so long to program that, and it is so useless because sometimes you just spend your time doing things that you are the only one who cares about them, but who cares? Indeed, I care about doing that because as I said, I find it interesting, to be able to do something, but probably I should have just got better flying my quadcopter in that time.
So Jay, you said that you're a musician also. You play guitar, obviously.
Yeah.
What you live in Milan? Is that how I say it? Is that right?
Yeah, that is the English way of saying it. In Italia, we say Milano.
Milano. Okay. So I realized, where obviously I've heard of that place. I did a little bit of research yesterday after we talked briefly, just because I was curious where I'm like, where does this guy live? So I was looking at the city and it looks pretty bitchin'.
Well, I've lived here only for a couple of years now.
Okay.
I wasn't born here. I was born in the south of Italy.
Oh, okay.
In Puglia. Puglia, I don't know how you would say it, but in Italian it is Puglia.
Okay.
And I was born in Bari, in the south of Italy. And then I moved pretty close to Venice, in a city called Vicenza. And I lived there for 15 years. And then I moved to Milano a couple of years ago. And I'll probably move back to Vicenza. I don't know.
Okay, cool. What is now are you is there I'm curious about the music scene there. Is there cuz it's kind of a big city, right?
This is to say that I haven't really had the time to
Ah,
know about the music scene because I moved here 2 years ago, the first day of the lockdown.
oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, okay,
So I basically spent my first year just here in
yeah,
my house.
yeah, I get you. Um, I see. So, have you? I'm trying to think. Like, what else do you do besides guitar scientist? And do you play music, or do you have another computer? Like, I'm guessing that you're really into like coding and all that stuff. Do you do something else that involves that?
No, actually, my only project for which I code is guitar scientist.
Ah,
That is my only coding project. I I build some little tools from time to time if I have a specific problem that I need a little applet to solve it. I can make a program. Once I made a program to calculate how many diatonic scales exist because I wondered how many diatonic scales exist. You know, scales where you only have uh, two notes, a semitone of a distance, but not a third. So you can have
ah,
C, C sharp, and not D.
I see.
So how many scales with seven notes you can have with only two notes a semitone apart and not more than a tone and a half apart,
Right.
like a harmonic scale?
Hmm.
How many of them? What is the correct time? Because if you try, you will find a few more than maybe you can guess 21 because seven modes of three scales, maybe a fourth scale, 28, but how many? How many is the top number you can find? So I wrote a program to
Uh-huh.
find that answer because I kept finding scales, but I wanted to find it for sure.
Right.
And so I wrote this little program. I wish I could show it to you, but my OBS today wouldn't recognize my camera, so I am
No worries.
talking to you by telephone now. And the answer is I wish I remembered it.
That's pretty cool how you do that. I mean,
It's 42.
okay.
Is it 42?
So wait, I'm thinking 7 times
6.
because
Calculator. Here it is. 42 scale. The answer to the I was it. There was a movie, but I saw it in Italian. 42. The answer to the big question.
yeah.
Let me find it in English. What was the original?
So you can basically write a program for
Each
anything.
hiker's guide. Each hiker guide to the galaxy. Okay.
Say again?
Each hiker guide to the galaxy. The movie
Oh, I
or
love
the
that
or the
movie or the book. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So 42 is the answer to the ultimate
Oh yeah.
question of life, the universe, and everything. Okay.
I
So when I
forgot.
found it was when I found it was 42, I said, "Whoa!"
I forgot about
This
that
is,
part. Yeah. I got to watch that movie again. That's a great movie.
oh, how many diatonic scales there are? 42. That was a big number.
That's a funny part in that movie. That's a really good
Yeah,
movie. Yeah, I forgot about that.
perfect answer to a question I was having for a long time.
Yeah,
So.
that's hilarious. So,
Yes, sometime I will code a little program for I don't know, small problems. Like my girlfriend wanted me to ask her. She studies Chinese, so
mhm.
she uses these cards with the Chinese word on it, with the symbol. They use symbols. I don't know how they call them. There is a word, but
Oh,
I really don't remember it.
characters?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think so. Well, there is this Chinese letter that means something, and I would show her the card, and she would translate it.
Right.
But I grew tired of it in a couple of hours. So I said, what if I write a program where you have to press the spacebar and a random word shows up and you have to translate it? So I invested a couple of hours, and I didn't have to do that job forever again.
That's hilarious. So, man, what is the next? What's the future like for Guitar Scientist, or what are some things that you hope for, or you may want to
Well,
do?
as I was saying, I spent a lot of time um, coding functions that actually I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and I I coded a lot of things that people asked, but um, several times I took a direction that wasn't really decided because I observed some behavior or I received a request. It was just things I thought would be cool,
Mm-hmm.
and some often people would think the same, but there are cases where I spent a lot of time coding useless things.
Mm.
And so actually, I think I will try to focus on the things that people have been asking a lot.
Mm.
That is, I believe the first most important thing is vertical fretboards. People want to turn fretboards 90 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, because a lot of chords are written that way with
Oh,
3 or 4
dude,
frets.
that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Like, that's one of the things that annoys me the most on the internet is the chord symbols that are like up and down instead of like this.
Yeah, I hate them, but
I
I don't
hate
know
it.
people.
And
So
honestly,
maybe I can't read them. I don't understand how people can read that, but people ask for it.
okay.
So if this really is a job, I should you know implement this feature. And I would have done so. I mean, I made the leftist option, so
Right.
I'm not left-handed, but I understand people can be left-handed,
Right.
sometimes. I don't know, all the time, maybe for a specific person, but I regress. Um, what I was saying is, yeah, this is so difficult to do. The vertical fretboards is almost impossible. The way
Really?
I code it, yeah, it's so difficult
Uh,
because it is paginated, showed the layout works from left to right,
mm,
top to bottom. So if I flip it,
everything's
uh,
different. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know, the browsers don't really work from top to bottom. They work
Mm,
from left to right.
yeah.
So yeah, I know there are a lot of workarounds. There are a lot of things I can do. If there is a programmer, maybe he's thinking, dude, it's so easy. But actually, the way I coded it, it's really hard for
Okay.
me to do it. So I've tried several times, and I spent a few hours experimenting a way to do this, but I couldn't find an easy way. I mean, I have to code a vertical fretboard as a separate entity, a whole different thing that you can then add as a vertical fretboard. But I would like to make things, user friendly, easy, just rotate and
Yeah.
rotate.
I see what you're saying.
Because this is what people expect, a button that says
That
rotate.
just flips it. Yeah.
And but uh, until now, I couldn't find a way to do that. So probably that is the first feature I will try to add.
Wow. So a lot
Another,
of people want that.
yeah, I don't know. A lot of people, all mm, of the same category of people, probably the same kind of guitarists used to, play chords most of the time.
Yeah.
They are used to read chords that way, so they want to, I
Which
don't know, write a song,
I don't
and
understand
they
that,
want it
man.
that way.
I don't get that view of like how to see it like that, because ultimately, here's my argument. When I have students that say that or whoever says it, it's just I see it all the time online and in books. Like you'll see it in a published book, just vertical. Like I don't get look, I got one right here. It's a Hendrix book. Look at
Uh-huh.
they have it in the very beginning. What? Well, that one doesn't have chords. Some of these have chords in the beginning, and they're okay. Maybe this is the wrong book. Okay. Anyways, my point is bad example. But I've seen books where they're vertical, and every time I'm just like, that doesn't make any sense because it would be like playing piano and then turning piano the other way. Because that's basically what you're doing. Because the way that you would see it, the way you have it written, which is, the low string is down here and the high string is up here, right? And it's left to right. But it's like, and the nut is on the right side depending on where you are, or but the thing is that like when you go to actually play it on guitar, you're gonna see it horizontally anyways. You're not gonna see it like this, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess the reason is just to put small diagrams on, when you have the chords and the lyrics.
yeah,
Okay, so there are some songbooks that have the chords and the lyrics below,
yeah,
and given that they are written with the beginner guitarist in mind, they have the diagrams for the chord, especially maybe the difficult one,
right.
like the F.
But don't you think it would just be because you could have like a little square of just the chord, like you're saying, but instead of like this, it's just like I just never understood why they did it vertical. But whatever, if people like it, that's fine.
Probably because the lyrics are read by the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you are looking. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, that's a better argument than I've heard from most people. But anyways, that's cool. The point is you're trying to address like things that people may want online on the website.
Yes. Probably this is the best bet if I want to make, I don't know, a little bit of profit from this website.
Right.
Would be to serve the customers.
Right.
It only makes sense because right now I just did what I thought is the best editor for me, and I listened to suggestions, but mainly I did what I thought it was the best thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all you can do. I think it's great. There's
suggestions are important.
So what about my suggestion that you said was really hard to do? Do you remember?
Actually, not really. I receive a lot of requests.
So I had one that was, if you could, how you have the transpose. So, but
yes.
you know how you have to do it on each layer on each fretboard. If there was a way to, like, let's say, like,
yes,
once you get everything set up like on one master copy, which is what I do, I'll do it like in C major or C minor or C mixolydian or whatever.
Okay. To transpose the whole document.
The whole document,
yeah. You put the same document in D.
But instead of it does each layer and each fretboard at once. Because instead I have to click each layer. I go to layer 1, transpose, layer 2, transpose, and then I go to the next fretboard.
You know what? I used to teach before doing this website in the past, probably 8 years ago. I used to be a guitar teacher. That was my first real job, probably. And then I had to stop. And in those years, I had to stop playing guitar completely because of a problem in my left arm. And in those years, I did a lot of things, including this software, because all of a sudden I had 8 more hours a day of free time.
That's funny. That means, yeah, you were good. You would practice. That's good.
Yeah, I practiced a lot. But then I became very good at Call of Duty and Tekken. I mean, very good. Very good. Uh, Also, on the side, I programmed the website. I'm joking. Um, and what was I saying? So I used to make diagrams back then,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember a lot of the problems that I had, and I tried to solve a lot of those problems. But since I don't really teach anymore, these kinds of things, like the one you just said, didn't occur to me because I actually don't live the life of a guitar teacher.
Right. I see what you mean.
And a few things, like I live the life of the self-taught guitarist
Of the
because I'm not actually self-taught, but I spend so much time here trying to figure out things and maybe making a little diagrams of this or that, and I try to optimize the program for the kind of guitarist that looks like me, people at home trying to compose, figure
Mhm.
out how exotic scale sounds. So I have a lot of generators that will generate for you all the scales you want, all the chords you want, all the voicings you want for
Right.
any kind of chord. I don't know if you try the chord generator.
Yeah, I
It will
saw.
show you 50 options for a C major.
Yeah.
So that that thing sounded interesting to me. I wanted to figure out all the possible way to play any chord,
Mm-hmm.
but probably you want to show how to play a pentatonic scale in A and then in B. So
Right. Yeah. But I see what you're saying because it's like what you're saying is true. It's like what you're kind of taking this certain approach that like that may not be what most people are using the site for because like they want to see C major or just a little chord or but you're over here have every single scale ever you could click of a button with like which is really cool. But I think most people that maybe would find your site because they're just trying to learn or whatever it is, it's like doing the button where it's every single inversion ever on every,
well,
it's kind of
it is
overwhelming.
called guitar scientist.
What's that?
I mean, it is called guitar scientist, not guitar the same way over and over.
It's called. Hey, good point, people. See, you guys got to learn your scales. Come on. That's
It's called guitar
hilarious.
scientist for a reason. It's not guitar the same stuff over and over again. It's guitar scientist.
Oh, man, that's great. That's hilarious. I like this guy. Yeah, hey, for everyone watching still or listening, if you're still here, me and Jay have never talked except for yesterday, briefly for like what 10 minutes, because I wanted to see if we could talk really easily, because obviously he's in Italy, so he said I don't know if my English is good enough, but your emails were great, and you sound, I mean, your English is perfect, man. It sounds great. So
Thank you.
so you're cracking me up though because this is the first time we've really like hung out. If so you're kind of a funny guy. It's called guitar scientist for a reason, people.
Well, yes.
Well, man, I mean, so what are you thinking? Like, if I just email you a bunch of edits, are you gonna get mad at me?
No, no, not at all.
All right, cool. Um, I mean, I think it's great, man. I mean, if anyone goes on there and uses it, I think you should try and help Jay out. Get a profile or a login or a screen name, whatever you want to call it. But join the Guitar Scientist crew. So I think it's wonderful. And for my students that may be watching, this is the guy that made this site that we always use. So be sure to share it with your friends and stuff. And what's like? Let me ask you, Jay. What's the best way for people to like support you? Is it to do? I'm guessing is to get a profile, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Get a profile and maybe share it. Like share the site and what it can do, and just I'm sure that would help. Interesting. I didn't, I use these sites, but like something like your Guitar Scientist, I didn't realize. I mean, I guess I kind of did, but I don't really know how coding works and stuff. So I didn't realize until now, like how many layers there probably is for each thing. I mean, I can only imagine. for like
Oh,
the
you have no idea.
yeah.
You have no idea. Oh, if I were to tell you how much time I spent to let people have two different colors on the same dot, you have no idea. It took me
Wow.
at least a couple of days to do that.
Wow.
And sometimes I get so annoyed because the thing is so little and nobody will notice and nobody will ever know how much time I spent on it.
I love it, dude. You're cracking me up. This is funny. Well, hey, I notice.
No, believe me,
It's a long
you have
time,
no
huh?
idea. Because
Wow.
even I forget. Even I forget. When I use the website now, I say, wow, okay, this works. But then I remember maybe when I have to do some edits and I look at the code and I see, oh,
Oh.
wow, these many lines of code for this. Oh, okay, now I remember how I
So
swear for this function.
right, I get you. Yeah. So what how does it work? Like where are you editing? Are you making like a copy of the whole thing and then you're editing that and then you publish it, or how does it work? Like is it on a
No, I
program,
have
or what are
no.
you
There is a program that manages the versions. There is
Okay.
called version control, and I learned about it far into the project. But now I use it,
Okay.
and it is called Git or JIT, and it basically I have an offline version and I work on that. And when I
Ah,
want to synchronize the website with my version, I have to just click a button actually,
okay.
and the website will reflect the edits that I did on my version.
I see.
And I have all the versions. So if something goes, you know, I make an update, I think it will work and it won't, I can actually roll back and
Ah, okay,
get
good.
that to the version. Okay,
Cool.
so this is called version control, and there are software that just do this automatically, and I
Wow.
just use them.
Okay. Okay, cool. Wow. Well, I mean, I think it's really cool, man. Like, for at least for me, it's like just so you know, like I teach at these different schools, and like I make my students use it every day. So hopefully, more and more people use it, and I think it's. I mean, for me, that's why I wanted to talk to you, because I just find it so interesting, and we kind of were communicating online, just dealing with the website. And then I kind of got curious and I said, "Hey Jay, would you ever want to do a podcast?" And he said, "Sure." Yeah. So I'm glad you did this, man. It's really cool to hear how much time and effort you put into this website.
Well, it was a pleasure to meet you actually.
Yeah, man.
You're
If
such a
you
fun guy.
eh,
You
thanks,
smile all the time.
thanks, man. If you ever come to California or San Diego, be sure to call me.
Sure. I don't think it will be soon, but
Hey, you never know. Um, Is there well, Jay, I appreciate your time and for doing this. Is there anything else you want to tell people, or do you have any questions, or I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to ask you.
I don't know. We can go through the list you sent me if you want and see if we touched all points.
Yeah, did we? I'm trying to think. Let's see here. Yeah, you kind of told me. Okay. So, how did you get into music actually? We never really talked about that.
Oh, music. Well, actually, this is a kind of a very common story, I believe. I received my first guitar for Christmas from my parents when I
Nice.
was 9.
Okay. Cool. That's
And
good.
I was basically forced to attend the lessons my parents already paid for. And and I really hated it because it was fun until I realized that I had to press on the frets because I thought it was like an harp, where you only have to pluck the strings
Oh,
when when I had never touched the guitar.
right.
But then I realized there are shapes, so I have to learn them. Oh, it was not fun anymore. But somehow you get caught into this thing made of wood, and you know you keep it with you for the rest of your life. I discovered Iron Maiden, Deep Purple, and I wanted to learn their songs when I was in middle school, and then in high school toward the end. of high school, I discovered Dream Theater, and that was the end of
Oh,
it.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine lent me probably 6 or 7 CDs, and I basically threw away everything I was listening up to that point, and I only listened to Dream Theater for probably 3 years
Wow.
exclusively.
Yeah. I did
I
that.
think, yeah,
I
many
was
people had this phase,
Yeah, I
I
did
believe.
that but with Hendrix.
Hendrix.
Yeah, that I did the same thing that you did but with Jimi Hendrix.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Everyone has his medicine, I don't know how
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say it.
But I understand what you mean.
The,
Yeah.
his
No, that's
drug.
it. Yeah. Dream Theater, man, you're bringing me back. I remember that band. I remember.
Yeah, for me, it was at first Joe Satriani. When I
Yeah.
discovered Joe Satriani, and in particular the G3 concert of 1993,
Okay.
that was like I had a blast. I went through 3 copies of the CDs because I actually used them so much that I scratched them to the point I couldn't listen to them
Right.
anymore. So I had to make another copy, and I listened to it so much. I learned as good as I could at the time.
Yeah.
Most of the songs, the without the difficult part, and that was it. I loved it so much, and then I discovered Dream Theater, so it was guitar all the time. Wow, yeah.
Right.
So you can make difficult solos in singed songs, and that was my beginning. I should say, and a few years back, 10 years ago maybe, I used to have a band where we played progressive metal, and my concept was to do the same thing that Dream Theater did, but not what they did, because they used to um, merge genres
Hmm.
together,
Yeah.
metal and progressive rock, that were the cool genres at the time they were playing. So I thought, why we don't we do the same thing? What are the cool genres that we
Yeah.
listen to now?
Hmm.
And it was dubstep and progressive metal for me.
Ah.
So I thought, why don't we do something called, I don't know, on the same note?
Yeah.
Why don't we do something merging the genres that we like? So it was progressive metal with electronic music.
Hmm.
And I had to find a way to make it sound cool, so I called it acid metal, from like acid jazz, that is
Yeah.
jazz and electronic music. So it was metal and electronic music. Why not acid metal?
Yeah.
And it kind of worked for at least 20 or 30 people.
So you guys are big time in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What was the name of the band?
It was called Mugen.
Okay.
Mugaen.
Okay.
Mugaen.
Sick. Nice. That's cool, man. And this down in South, like where you were born?
No, no, no. I used to live in Vicenza, and
Oh, that's right.
uh,
Okay.
well, I think we weren't half bad, but you know, it's not easy when you absolutely don't know what are you doing, to promote yourself. And this was before YouTube was the go-to place to
Yeah.
upload your music. It was like 2011, 2010, 2011. You could upload a video on YouTube, but that wasn't what everyone was doing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first thing on top of your mind. So
Right.
let's make a video and upload it on YouTube. And so we tried to play in small venues, mostly pubs in our area,
Yeah.
and you know how this thing goes.
Yep. I do. Well, cool, man. Well, what can you tell me about? Have you ever been to the U.S.?
I have been to the NAM uh, 2 or 3 years ago, or
Oh.
maybe
Oh,
NAM
nice.
2018 or
In
19
L.A.
in LA. Yes,
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
yeah, that was the first and only time I went to the US. I stayed in Fullerton.
Okay. Yeah. So what was it like? What was, cuz I've only been to Italy once, and it was for literally like a day.
Okay. Why?
I was in college. I was getting my master's, and we were in this big. It was a jazz big band, and we
Okay.
had a trip to Montenegro. Do you know where that is?
Montenegro. Not Italy.
No, it wasn't Italy, but we had to fly from
Okay.
Rome. We went from like the U.S. to Rome, I think it was, and then we flew because Montenegro is right across the sea right there. So
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So you spent Sunday because you had to take
yeah,
another
and then
flight.
on the
Some.
way back we had like an all day layover. So we basically we left Montenegro, we went to Rome, and then we kind of wandered around for a while, and then and we spent the night. That's what it was. So we had that entire day, and then we had to get up early and fly home. So me and some of my friends and the musicians, we all kind of split up different groups. Like some of the band went over here to the Coliseum, and some went over here. And I just kind of was with some friends, and we just went around and ate food and wandered and drank wine and was just checking things out.
And that's the Romans do.
What's that?
And you did as the Romans do.
Yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. When in Rome. So that was my only experience being there. It was very brief, but I remember like feeling like there was way more like history there. You could just feel it. Like you just could see like things looked old because they were old, or like I don't know, it just had it was much different than, where I'm from. I guess it's just because our country's kind of not as old really, but what did you think?
Yeah, there are clear differences based on that reason. And yeah, probably it's the same reason for what I thought when I went there.
Mm.
Everything is so spread out.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I noticed. You can't go anywhere by walk.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's not as dense. Like, yeah, because you could walk around, get whatever. Yeah, I see what you mean. It's only
Yeah,
certain cities, but yeah, definitely L.A.
well, I only saw that
Yeah,
for a few
yeah,
days. So
yeah.
it's probably as your opinion of Italy based on one day in
Right.
Rome, my opinion of Europe based on one day in LA. It
Well,
has not that solid grounds. But this is what I first noticed.
yeah.
Everything is so spread out. Buildings are short. You only have the first floor.
Mm.
So actually, there is far less people than you would think in any given area. You have, I don't know, you look, and there are probably 5 people, 10, no one at times. I went to the Walk of Fame, and I expected to, I don't know, see a lot of people there. Actually, not so much. I mean, probably you think there are a lot of people, but when I say there are a lot of people, you can't walk.
Yeah.
And when I went there, yeah, there were definitely people, but not so much.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's
Oh,
not what you
not.
thought. Yeah. I get you. Did you come here by yourself? Were you with some friends, or did you know anyone
No,
here?
I was alone. I was alone because I was trying to, introduce the performance to a few people, and I thought that the NAM show was a good idea. So
Hmm.
I took the occasion because I was curious to see the US, and well, I wasn't disappointed. It wasn't just exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
It was a fun week, absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, I've only been to the NAM show maybe a couple times. Um, but San Diego is south of LA, so
Mhm.
it's just it's a different vibe too. LA's pretty, yeah, LA's LA. It's like, but that's cool, man. I mean, well, I really liked Italy. Like that would be a place that I would want to go back and visit again. Especially like I don't know. There's just so much like I remember just walking around and like we saw the Coliseum and I was like, whoa, that's wild. Like it's just right there. You're just driving right by it. Like it's pretty crazy.
Well, I feel like that too, huh? When I see things here and I say, okay, it is just like that. It is there. So you
Right.
can just walk, vandalize it if you want. Really.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's like the biggest difference I think that I noticed too was like how it was crazy because I guess here it's just like if you would never really have. Oh, maybe you do. I guess it's just it was wild to me to think that like wow, this just it's just there's no one really like blocking it like you're saying. It's like especially I was looking at some
Don't
pictures.
do it because actually there are people watching you, but
Oh,
you don't really know.
okay, yeah. Anyways, yeah. I mean, and what about in Milan? It seems like I was looking at some pictures and I was like, wow, like this is it it looks like a pretty big city, no?
Yeah, it is a huge city.
Okay.
I haven't seen a tenth of it
Okay.
actually. If I live here, but you know, you don't really act as a tourist in your own town.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. So
I just live here.
what made you move to Milan?
Um, well, honestly, my girlfriend lived here, and we were together since probably 5 years, and she lived here. So I should say this is probably the first reason, but there are others because I wouldn't have moved anywhere. You know, Milan is the biggest city in the north of Italy, and for a long time I thought that it would be a good idea to move here. So it was just the right time,
Cool.
and I thought it was about time to move here
Yeah.
after a while that we were together, and I just did it.
Cool. Nice, man. All right, sweet. Well, I mean, I hope to see that city one day. It looks really cool.
If you come here again, as you said,
Oh, I'll call you for sure. Well, Jay, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate all the time that you spent on that website. Really, like I use it all the time. So thank you for slaving over it for hundreds and thousands of hours, probably. um,
I I don't know. I would like to know how many hours I put into it,
right.
but I don't know. I could guesstimate probably a couple thousand
Yeah. I
because it was over 4 years
okay.
and in bursts. I
Yeah.
would work on it for a couple of weeks all day and then leave it for I don't know 3 or 4
Mm,
weeks, and then again, and like this for a few years.
okay. Yeah. I could see that. I think you would probably your estimate is probably on. That's probably a lot of time. So to anyone that's watching, be sure to go check it out, guitarscientist.com. And even I need to go look at some more of the features. So be sure to go on there and check everything out. Make a profile, support this guy. What are you on like social media, like Instagram and stuff, or Facebook or YouTube or
I don't really use it that much, but I am
okay.
on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
What is your handle or like what is it? What is it just your name?
My name,
Okay.
Giuseppe Motta or Giuseppe Motta J somewhere, because Americans have a tendency to call me Giuseppe. I don't know why. It's Giuseppe, but it's always Giuseppe for you. So in the end, I just said, call me Jay because a lot of my friends already do,
Okay.
and you want me.
All right, perfect. Well, people that are watching, they can see your name on the screen. So if you guys just want to search that, you can check them out. Well, thank you, Jay. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Thank you for making that site. It's really helped me and helped my students. So I'm gonna keep using it. So I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, man. We'll stay in touch, and I'll check in with you
Sure,
every once in a while.
my pleasure.
All right, man. I'll see you. Have a good day, or have a good night, I guess I should say.
Well, have a good day, you.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Bye.
A jive symphonic funk of off-tone melodies and open-tone vibration.